Hello guys, Chris here. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Loupedeck Plus that I just got a few days ago. This little keyboard, magic keyboard for editing, is actually pretty good. I have been using it a bit for my workflow to test how it works, how it goes, and I've been pretty pleased in the last few days. So I have been testing this in various programs such as Premiere Pro, Lightroom, Photoshop, and Aurora HDR, and I can tell you it's a great editing tool that you guys will want to have if you do a lot of editing, if you spend a lot of hours in front of your computer, and if you want to become more efficient and faster in doing what you're doing. So I have had a lot of people asking me how I color grade and basically what presets I use for my wedding photography. Today I'm going to be editing for you a few shots that I did for a pregnancy photo shoot a few weeks ago. These will be the raw files and I'll be editing them live so you can see how I use the Loupedeck Plus and how I customized a few buttons and a few things here and there to make it more my own. Without further ado, we're gonna jump right into it right after the intro. Don't move. Okay, good. So here we are in Lightroom Classic. So we got our 4 photos. So this one, this one, this one, and this one. These are all photos from a photo shoot that I did, like I said, a few weeks ago for a pregnancy shoot. So we're gonna start with the first one here. So usually I have to go into the knobs, so you'll have all the knobs here, so exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, you know, texture, clarity, and then go down to the color channels and change the, you know, the hue, saturation, and luminance and all that. And here, the good news is I don't need to do that. So I can just go ahead and start editing the different, see, for example, here I'm gonna move the exposure a tiny bit. It's a little bit more luminous, so there's a little bit more light. I'm gonna go with the blacks a little bit lower. Overall, this photo doesn't need a lot of editing. The whites, here we go, just a bit. Okay, the saturation, so I will increase a little bit the saturation of the photo. Now here, for example, one thing I will want to do is play a lot with the colors. This is a photo shoot that I did mainly for autumn, for fall, so I want to play a little bit with the colors, have these orange and red and greens a little bit more poppy. So in this case, what I can do, I can just go here to the saturation and I can play a little bit with the orange. So I want it to be a little bit more poppy. Same for the red, I want the red a bit more red. And then here I'm gonna go on the hue, and I'm gonna change the hue of the orange and the red, like so. There you go, so they pop a little bit more. Same for the green, and I'm gonna go back to the saturation of the green, and I'm gonna increase. You see when you turn the wheel here, obviously you can click on it, it's gonna go back if you do too much, and you don't have to worry to go into all different menus and other things to find where these are. Same here for the orange and the red, not too much, but you see in the background the leaves, now they're a bit more popping out. I'm gonna increase the exposure again a little bit more. I'm going to increase the contrast to make it a little bit less flat. Here we go. And now one thing we can do is we can press this FN button here and turn the D1, and you see what happens here. We're going to add some vignetting, which is going to make it pop a bit more. There you go. Now one thing I notice here out of the bat is that on the left side you have a little bit more space than on the right side. It's like tiny. So in this case I'm gonna go here, twist this guy, so I'm gonna go in crop mode, and at this point what you can do is you can zoom a little bit here like this, and then we're gonna move a bit to the side, and that looks pretty much correct. And I'm gonna press here. There you go. Now you can see the before after. That's how it looks. See, it's not a lot of changes, but it makes the colors pop a little bit, which is great. Okay, good. Now we go to the next one. So here again, you can navigate this way. On this photo here, I'm gonna do the same, sort of the same process. So we're gonna increase the exposure a bit. The blacks are gonna go a little bit lower. Whites, there you go. Contrast once again. A little bit of vibrance, a little bit of saturation, not too much. Now I'm gonna go in the channels here, and I'm gonna add some of the red, some of the yellow for the background leaves, and same for the green, so we have that popping off. I'm gonna go back to the hue, a little bit with this here, green. Okay, good. Here we go. So now this shot is pretty good. I'm gonna add a little bit of vignetting. Here we go, and I want some more vibrance and saturation, a tiny bit here. So I'm not gonna go overboard with this, but that's the little, you see, the little tiny changes that you can make. Increase a little bit the shadows, and now we can go in before after. See, again, little touch-ups, but it doesn't take long to do it thanks to this Loupedeck Plus keyboard. Now we're going to go to the next shot, which is this one. So in this one, for example, on C5 and C6, these two little buttons, which by the way, you can customize by simply going into the Loupedeck configuration, which is here. And you can press on all these buttons. In this case, I'm in Premiere Pro here, but I'm gonna go in Lightroom because I've been using Premiere Pro just before. And here we have all these buttons that we can change both in develop mode or in library mode, up to you. So what I did here is that I changed the, like I was saying, the C5 and the C6 to make the image turn. That's something that for me is very useful because all I have to do is press this button, it's gonna turn. For other people it can be anything else, but that's something that actually helps me a lot. Now I can go back to the previous photo here. For example, if I want to copy the settings of this photo, I would go on down here on copy, as simple as that, go back, paste, and here you go. Now you have the same exact colors. Obviously in this case you can see that the yellow is way too intense, so I'm gonna reduce the saturation of the yellows because of her hair and the leaves. Same for the green, it's a little bit too much here, it's a little bit too poppy. And otherwise overall the vignetting needs to go a little bit. I'm gonna remove some vignetting, and here the reds, I'm gonna play a little bit with the reds. Shadows, I'm gonna open the shadows a little bit, not too much. Highlights are gonna go down a bit. The blacks, I need them to be a little bit lower. There you go. And here again, before after. That's how long the process takes to edit photos. Obviously I'm doing this quickly, but it gives you a good idea of how I actually can use this keyboard. And last but not least, we have this photo here of the two laying on the floor. So here you can put some presets. Here you go, for example, some black and white presets here, or you can have this one, which is one of my favorites. And here we go, once again, I'm gonna add some contrast. I'm going to play a little bit with the vignetting. Blacks can go a little bit darker, whites, same here. And now you have some cool things. For example, L1 here gives you the brush. So you can go with the mouse around here, you can use the control dial to increase or lower the size of the brush. So I could, for example, go on her face here and his face, and then now with that I can play with like the shadows, you know, increase and lower the blacks, the whites, contrast, all that directly off their face, which is very good actually. So I'm gonna go back here. So I'm gonna reset this photo. Actually no, look, before after looks like this. So that's how long it took me to edit this photo. Obviously from here you can play around, you can add, for example, clarity. This one here, if you don't use the FN, the function key is going to be your dehaze key. I'm gonna lower the whites a little bit, increase the exposure a tiny bit, and the highlights. And there you go, temperature, I'll make it a little bit warmer. There you go. I'm gonna add some saturation for the leaves, and I think it would be nice to have the leaves pop a little bit more. So yellow, orange, and red are gonna pop a bit more. And there you go. Okay guys, so this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you with your potential workflow, or to help you decide if this keyboard is actually a good keyboard or not, and if it's worth the money and the price, which is currently around 230 Swiss francs or euro, roughly around there. I think it's very much worth the investment. It's helping me a lot to do my editing on all sorts of programs, and it really is a key tool for someone who edits a lot and doesn't want to spend tons of time doing the editing and spending more time shooting than being behind a computer. It also helps you being more precise and has a lot of potential of you know, customization and setting it up as you want. So don't forget to subscribe, to like, to comment, and I'm really glad you guys came on this channel. If it's the first time, please do subscribe. It really helps me because we're almost at 600 subscribers. It's moving along really quick. For those that are already subscribed, I thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I hope to see you soon for my next video. Take care. Cheers.